today we'll be beginning with our first unit. So we'll be starting with the basics of international business. So these are the contents or the concepts that we're going to cover in the first unit. That is the meaning and definition of international business, various theories of international trade, economic theories, forms of international business, and the nature of international business. So these are the topics we're going to be studying in this chapter. Starting with meaning. Meaning of international business. It refers to those business activities that take place beyond the geographical limits of a country. Now we know that generally when we are talking about the business, it's just buying and selling of goods or services. Simple. Market means where you physically exchange goods or services, right? So likewise, the same thing when you do it across a country's border, correct? Beyond India's borders, it is called as international business. That applies to every country, right? Any country for that matter, when they start exchanging goods and services beyond their country's limits, it will be termed as international business. Okay, so it is also known as global business. So in the question paper, they might ask you define global business, right? You don't have to be confused if it's two words, it's the same. Okay, international or global. It involves not only international movement of services and goods, but also capital, personnel, technology, intellectual property like patents, trademarks, know-how, and copyrights. Now, here we're going to not only look into, when I say international business, it's not just we're going to export goods, import goods, or export services and import services, but it's also much more, right? It's also exchange of capital, that is amount or finance or cash, correct? Personnel means human resource. Whenever you see a double N, right, that means it is talking about labor, workers, or human capital, okay, laborers. Next, technology, right? There are a lot of things that we're going to learn from the technologically most updated countries. Let's say, for example, USA or Japan or Germany, right? We have companies coming in from there who are experts in robotics, who are experts in certain automobile industries, right? What we are going to study, some kinds of costing methods, or I would say just in time concept. Hope you have come across that. It all originated in Japan, correct? You're going to purchase goods just when it's required. What is the benefit? You will avoid or cut down the cost of warehousing or storage. Got it? So these are some technological aspects that we could learn from other countries. And also intellectual property. I'm sure you have come across in the subject business regulations as a complete chapter on intellectual property, right? Where we study about patents, trademarks, copyrights, all of these, right? It refers to inventions or creation of art, okay, and get it patented or registered in that particular person's name. So international business, it's not just about goods and services, but there's a lot more to it. Features of international business: large scale operations, integration of economies. Okay, let's just go for the first one, large scale operations. Now in international business, all the operations are conducted on a very huge scale. Now definitely we are not talking about a local market in a Bangalore or a KR market where we are dealing with a very small quantity of goods or a smaller scale of market, etc. But here we are talking about global, right? International level. So automatically all the kind of operations, let it be marketing, purchasing, sales, sales department, advertising, R&D, all kinds of department operations moves on a very large scale. Okay, that's about large scale operations. Number two is integration of economies. Now, integration, the very word integration means it's a combination or a combining of activities or combining of parts of a vehicle or parts of a goods. You're integrating various services or economies. That means international business integrates the economies of many other countries. Okay, now because there can be certain if you need to produce or if there is a company that has been established, then company can use finance from one country, right? Laborers from another country, infrastructure from another country. It will design in one place, right? The product is designed in one place, the product is manufactured in another country, and the product is sold in another country. You got my point? So what is happening here? The company is one, but these activities or operations are from different locations or from different countries or places. That is where you design the conception of the idea of a product or service, right? Where do you assemble it or where do you manufacture it, and where are you delivering the product or the service to? That is called as integration of economies. Number three, dominated by developed countries and MNCs. Now, we definitely know all these international business that we are studying today is when these multinational companies existence across all these from the developed countries into the developing or even the underdeveloped nations, right? Now we have at present MNCs from USA or Europe or Japan mostly dominate this foreign trade activities. Okay, that is because being coming from a developed countries, these companies are financially very sound, correct, or technologically more strong, right? They have the best technology, research and development, and all the other facilities across. They also have very high skilled employees or human labor or managers, because they give, of course, the benefits that these employees enjoy financially or non-financially is much more higher than what we compare to companies in developing or underdeveloped countries. So we can clearly know that it is being dominated by the developed countries and MNCs. Number four, benefits to participating countries. Now, international business gives benefits to all participating countries because, as I told, you conceive the business idea in one place, you're manufacturing or assembling the product in one place and delivering it or selling it in another place. So these are all the participating countries or nations. All of them will have respective benefits because, but developed countries get the maximum benefits. I'm sure even the developing or all the other countries participating according to their portion of operations or activities, they will also get benefited. Now let's say there's an MNC getting situated in India. Now India is a developing country. Now if there's a company from Japan or USA coming and setting up the business in our country, then we get foreign capital, correct? That's our benefit. We get their technology. We get to learn their level of technology. Yes or no? There is a rapid industrial development as a result of MNC or as a result of establishing the MNCs in our country, right? We also get employment opportunities. Altogether, this will result in economic development of the developing countries. Okay, so overall, it is contributing towards the nation growth. Therefore, developing countries are always opening up their economies through these liberal economic policies. Hope you have understood the first 4 features of international business. Number 5, keen competition. International business has to face keen competition in the world market. Okay, now the competition is between unequal partners. As I told, there are developed countries which are dominated in the international trade. Okay, so it is between developed and the developing. So these are not really equal partners, it is unequal. Okay, so in this keen competition, the developed countries are in a favorable position because why? They produce superior quality of goods as well as services at a very low prices, and also these countries have many contacts in the world market. So developing countries find it kind of difficult to face competition from the developed countries. So that's why we try and maximize not to import too many of the goods from the neighboring countries or from the developed countries. We try and make sure we produce or manufacture goods in our own country. The very Make in India concept just focuses on this, that we would start moving towards from developing to the developed country. Okay, and one step to reach that goal is to try and maximize exporting or exports and minimize our imports. Next, special role of science and technology. So international business gives a lot of importance to science and technology. Definitely, they invest more into their research and development in order to understand and know what are the future challenges. Okay, they're not very much relaxed and happy about the current situation of the business. They're always looking forward 5 years down the line. What could be the upcoming challenges? What could be the upcoming dangers that we need to face? How we should be prepared to face it, right? Either it can be financially, it can be in terms of labor intensive, whatever it might be. How are we supposed to be focused or prepared? Because when I'm trying to focus on science and technology, that will help me have a large scale production, correct? And because of this, as an advantage, we can also dominate the global business. We can become the pioneers or the leaders of international business. It helps them transfer high end technologies to the developing countries. So the more companies come and get situated in developing countries, we can learn from them, correct? We can learn various technologies and the production methods, etc., and we also start getting developed. Number 7, international restrictions. Now here, international restrictions faces international trade faces a lot of restriction, right? It can be from in terms of capital, in terms of movement of goods, etc., both inflow of capital, outflow of capital, technology, goods, etc., because we know that every country has its own respective rules and regulations, or what we call as law, correct, with respect to trade, tariff, taxes, correct, permissions, licenses. Every government has its own particular laws and rules. Okay, so many governments may not allow international businesses to even enter into their countries. Okay, so they might have a lot of trade blocks, trade barriers, foreign exchange restrictions, etc. So this also can be one of the restrictions or one of the challenges that international business can face. Sensitive nature. International business is very sensitive in nature. Now, why do I say that? Is any changes in the economic policies, technology, or political environment will have an immediate impact upon the international business. Now, for example, of this pandemic, right? Or it can be change in the USA president, right? Now the whole world actually awaits, or even though it's just one country's presidential election, okay, the entire world or the entire economy of the world awaits who is going to be the USA president, right? Why are we giving so much importance, or why is that we are going to have so much curiosity of who is going to be the next president? Is because USA, as we all know, is one of the fastest growing and the most military strong or economically strong nation in the world. So they are dominant in the most of the trade businesses, or it can be military, or it can be any category that you can name. They always excel, or they are the leaders in it, right? So the person who's going to be leading that country is definitely important for all the other countries to be aware of. Now, if that person appointed or nominated or elected is going to be supportive to the neighboring countries with respect to trade, with respect to other operational or military activities, it would benefit mutually. But if that person who's elected is going to raise bars with respect to a lot of restrictions, rules, and taxes, etc., that will definitely impact all the other countries who are trading with USA, right? So that's how this what we call it as sensitive nature, right? The decisions that governments make, or any kind of political environment, there's a political crisis happening, right? No, the government is not very stable. It becomes very challenging for the businesses to trade internationally, and especially due to this pandemic, every other business is down the line, right? Yes, there are businesses who are doing good, right, who are are able to maximize their income, or their operational activities have increased 10 times faster than before the pandemic even started, right? It can be companies, all the online companies, right? It can be Zoom, right? It can be Google, or all the internet provider facilities, right? Or the Netflix. All these companies are superbly increasing their viewers or customers or client base, etc. So it happens in a balanced way. There are certain countries that can get affected due to certain circumstances or situations. There are certain companies who gain enormous profit or customer base just because of that particular situation. So, on a whole, international business is very sensitive in terms of its nature. Got it? So, these are the 8 different points that we're going to study about the nature. So hope you have understood what is the meaning of international business, okay, in general terms. Hope you understood. And we also discussed about the various features, that is large scale operations, integration of economies dominated by developed countries and MNCs, benefits to participating countries, keen competition, special role of science and technology, international restrictions, and sensitive nature. Okay, this can be asked as a section C question, right? Explain the nature or characteristics of international business. So all these points you need to be explaining. Next, theories of international trade. So in the upcoming class, we're going to study in detail all these theories, or we call it as economic theories or theories of international trade. That is mercantilism, absolute advantage, comparative advantage, product life cycle theory, factor production theory, and national competitive advantage. That is Porter's diamond model. These are 6 different important theories. Again, it is a section C question. Okay, explain the theories of international trade. Or they might pick up any 3 theories and say, write a note on so and so theories. Okay, so it's very important. So you're going to start off these theories or the concept of these theories from the upcoming class. Okay, so hope all of you have understood today's class.